Hello, welcome back. I'm Gizem from TOEFLBANK. In this video, we will be reviewing two answers sent by our beloved subscribers. But before reviewing, we will be listening to the question and talk about the key points in answering the question.
Read a passage from a sociology textbook and listen to the lecture that follows it. Then answer the question. Let me explain the concept in an easier way. So, cultural diffusion is a phenomenon in which a culture is spread to other groups or regions. A typical example of cultural diffusion would be the spread of jeans. At first, jeans were made as a working uniform for miners. However, they widely spread as people started to consider them as fashionable and practical. As they didn't get easily torn or worn out, people began to prefer jeans as their daily clothes. In other words, jeans became a common fashion among ordinary people too. Also, new types of jeans started appearing, as explained in the textbook. Some intentionally ripped parts of their jeans, and others changed the color of their jeans based on their personal preferences. As the spread of jeans interacted with the existing culture, new types of jeans were created as a result. Question. Explain cultural diffusion and how the example used by the professor illustrates the concept.
So, cultural diffusion is a spread of culture by people's movements, trade, and mass media. When the culture spreads and interacts with an existing culture, it leads to creation of new cultures. Also, this process becomes more pervasive with the developments in technology. The professor or the lecturer illustrates this phenomenon by giving the example of jeans. Jeans were originally designed as a working uniform for miners, as they were not easily torn or worn out. However, people considered jeans fashionable and practical, and started to use them as a daily clothing item. Hence, jeans eventually became a part of common fashion among ordinary people. Additionally, new types of jeans emerged as people started to rip their jeans or change their colors according to their preferences. As a result, new types of jeans were born from the interaction of the existing fashion culture and the spreading use of jeans. These are the key points that should be in the response. And now, let's listen to the answer of Ms. Gonzalez.
The passage provides information about cultural diffusion, which is the phenomenon of culture in one region spreading to another region through people's movements, trade, and mass media. The professor elaborated this concept using spread of jeans as an example. First, she mentioned that jeans are used as working uniforms for young children, and it is also widely spread. People, even ordinary people, use them as fashion, and since jeans are not easily worn out, people began using them in their daily clothing. Some people would intentionally rip jeans, and they make some changes to this, like they change the colors based on their preference. So this created a new types of jeans, and this is the beginning of the spread of jeans that the professor mentioned.
Her overall delivery was very good. However, there were some parts where the pacing was unnatural. Also, there were some minor pronunciation errors. Nevertheless, her pronunciation did not affect the overall intelligibility of the answer, so she deserves 4 points for this category. For language use. There are some grammatical errors throughout the answer, but they do not affect the meaning. Let's listen to a couple of her mistakes.
People began using them in their daily clothing.
This sentence would be better if she said, as a daily clothing item, or as daily clothes. Another one is,
so this created a new types of jeans.
As the word types is plural, this sentence should have been, this created new types of jeans. As these are fairly minor mistakes, she deserves 4 points for this category. For the topic development, the explanation of the answer was good, but there was one part she misunderstood in the lecture. She said that jeans are used as working uniforms for young children. However, In the lecture, the professor says that jeans were used as a working uniform for miners. This mistake is probably caused by the pronunciation of the word miner. As the pronunciation is the same for both miner and minor, it led to a misunderstanding. In such situations, you can use the cues in other phrases close to the mentioned word. In this case, the lecturer said that jeans were used as a working uniform, so we can infer that the following word would describe an occupation. So she earned 3 points for topic development. Mentioning ideas that were not mentioned in the lecture may cause a deduction of your points, so try to focus on the lecture a bit more carefully next time. So overall, she got 3.5 points. Now, let's listen to the answer of Kamalettin.
The reading is about cultural diffusion. It states that in our modern life, spreading the culture becoming more and more active, and it is as easy as ever before. The lecturer elaborated on this concept by using several examples. First of all, she mentions that for the very first time when the jeans appeared, and it was made only for mayors at the uniform and at the working uniform for the mayors. So as people start consider it the fashionable and so suitable clothes for their daily life, they start use it as well. Secondly, she say that even for middle class, for ordinary people, it's start to well known and spread among the ordinary peoples, and they can change their colors by their preference. This is what the professor thinks so.
His delivery was okay. However, keep in mind that time management is critical in the speaking section. The reason I'm mentioning this is that Kamalettin's answer took 1 minute and 10 seconds. So his answer was 10 seconds longer than it should have been. Also, even though the delivery was good, there were some parts that were kind of muffled, which made it difficult to understand. One example is where he said well known at the 54-second mark. As a result, he got 3 points for delivery. There were some grammar errors in his answer. For example, where he said,
spreading the culture becoming more and more active, and it is as easy as ever before.
The meaning of the sentence is quite difficult to understand, so it might be better to say, cultural spread is getting easier and more prevalent. Another part is where he said,
the lecturer elaborated on this concept by using several examples.
This should be, the lecturer elaborates. As the final example, Kamalettin said,
even for middle class, for ordinary people, it's start to well known and spread among the ordinary peoples.
Without changing the meaning of Kamalettin's sentence, this part could be, even among ordinary people, jeans started to spread and become well known. So as a result, he got 3 points for language use. For topic development, he mentioned several examples and middle class. These were not in the passage or in the lecture, so try to answer only with the information in the question. Also, he used the word mayor, which was incorrect. My guess would be that it is also caused by the misunderstanding of the word minors. So, Kamalettin got 2 points for topic development. My advice would be to try and manage your pace and also focus a bit more in the real test. So overall, he got 2.5 points for this question. On behalf of TOEFLBANK, I hope this video helps those who are preparing for the TOEFL and wish you the best of luck in the real test. To prepare even better, go to our website and take many practice tests before taking the real test. And finally, I'd like to thank both our viewers for sending in their answers. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if it helped. Thank you guys, and see you next time.
Listen to part of a lecture and then answer the question.
So, we've been discussing animals that are anomalies in terms of classifying their species. The platypus is one such animal. Notwithstanding the fact the platypus at first glance seems to be a cross between a duck and a raccoon, it's also controversial in that as a mammal, it lays eggs, one of only 5 mammal species to do so. In fact, in 1799, even scientists saw platypuses as fake animals that were combinations of other animal parts sewn together due to its extraordinary appearance and features. Its tail resembles that of a beaver, its bill resembles that of a duck, and its feet an otter. Now, enough with the brief description. Let's move on to the surviving strategies of this special creature. Many of you might think that mammals aren't venomous, but actually, the platypus is an exception. But not all platypuses produce poison. Even though both male and female platypuses have ankle spurs where venom is excreted, only the male platypus produces venom there. Although the venom isn't powerful enough to kill a human being, it does cause excruciating pain. Also, it can inflict serious damage on smaller animals, such as dogs and hamsters. The venom of this animal is very different from that produced by non-mammalian species. Its effects are not fatal to humans, but nevertheless strong enough to cause severe damage to non-mammalian prey. Since only males possess venom and increase the amount during breeding season, it may be used as a powerful weapon to gain dominance among other male platypuses during this period. Also, since platypuses live in underwater caves, they are safe from predators on land. Living in such an environment, platypuses easily acquire food by hunting animals that live in the water, such as small fish, lobsters, and aquatic worms.
Question. Using points and examples from the talk, explain the survival strategies of platypuses.